Hi, I'm 2021 Why Not Cam Awards winner Chelsea Poe. I'm here to tell you about my cam studio, Treasure Cams. Treasure Cams is a performer-led webcam studio owned by queer porn star Bella Vendetta. We welcome all 21 plus models who want to earn a paycheck from home as cam performers. We're open to all body types, genders, persuasions, and presentations. You get access to our performer-only forums, monthly team meetings, as well as help with promotion and marketing. For customers, check out treasurecams.com to see all of our models, schedules, and photos. treasurecams.com. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Performers Pod. Today, I'm with Praline Manon. I'm so excited to talk to you. It's been literally, I think, 3 years now since we've hung out. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Chelsea. Really nice to see you and to hang with you as well.
Yeah.
I was really happy you asked me for it.
Yeah, you were on my list for so long, and I hit so many Berlin people in a row, and then I'm like, I need to get Praline on before the end of the season, so I'm very happy to talk to you. I think the last time we talked was, I remember your scene with, it was like involving fruit. It was at Berlin, and I remember your like face just getting smashed by a pomegranate, and yeah, I think that's the last time we talked, and I think I had something. Oh, I had the shoe scene screening, where I would lick a bottom of like Felicia Fisher's tennis shoe. Did you see that?
Yes.
Yeah,
I remember.
yeah.
We were at the same screening.
Yeah.
We had this both film on the same thing. I remember.
Yeah.
In Berlin. Yeah, that was the last festival before the pandemic.
Yeah, that was such a crazy festival too, because everything was sold out. My biggest stress the entire festival was not being able to get into my own screenings because everything was too full, which is so weird to think of now. But yeah,
True.
How is everything going for you? Now it's been 3 years. Is Berlin that much different, or do you feel like the porn scene's still kind of going?
Wow, it feels like a whole complete different life right now.
Truly.
It feels like really. Yeah, I'm just having like tons of pictures. I forgot that was the last time we've met. I had in mind the festival before that when we shot with max capacity.
Yeah, I shot you for my film XOXOX at your apartment, and yeah, that was a super fun shoot.
Yeah, that was fun. But that's what I had in mind. And now you mentioned this one. I remember, I have lots of, it was a great festival. It was really wild. And that film with the Clio, actually, is the name of the other performer. I remember they didn't smash me the pomegranate. They scratched the pomegranate on my face, but then they smashed my face into what's the name of that? The watermelon.
Oh, the watermelon.
The watermelon thing. And I thought, I was like, I offered the idea of the watermelon. I was like, yeah, watermelon is going to be smooth, it's like nice and sweet and soft, but it's actually hard as shit. I thought my nose is going to break in that moment, but
I do remember that part of the scene. Like there was, I guess it was watermelon. That like your face was getting smushed into it and being like, wow, isn't that really hard? Are you still in Berlin?
I'm still in Berlin. Yeah, definitely.
Does it still feel like there's kind of the same energy there, or has it shifted a lot?
Well, maybe for me it had shifted because probably I had shifted. I think we all had to adapt, right? With the situation. And for me, lots of things have been shifted. I can't talk about the Berlin energy. I don't know. I think it's also like, for example, this year the festival was so small. It was completely different. It was a whole different event. There was no visitors. Like there was only like people from Berlin and a few people from Europe, like maybe 2 people from Italy, 2 from France, and that was it. Basically, like 2 from South Germany. So it was very intimate. It was like very regional
again. It was like very regional. Like a very specific European festival where, you know, when we had the screenings together, it was truly people from around the world, where you had people coming in from South America, North America. You had like, I remember talking to someone who was trying to start up a porn collective in Hong Kong. It was just like really everywhere, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it was a different vibe, but still it was very nice. It was still Berlin, and they screened that film actually from you, and where I performed with Max. That
Yeah.
XOXO, yeah, that was cute. I was at the screening.
Yeah, so you were there. There was one
yeah.
person there for the screening. That's great.
I talked for you all.
Oh, great. I
Yeah.
was wondering what happened with that. I feel like when you're not there for these screenings, there it's just kind of a date on your calendar, and then you forget there's actual things that happen. And I hope you said positive things.
Yes, of course. It was no, it was cute. I remember the shoot, and also because I think I've had watched the film when you finished it. You sent it to me, but that's so long time ago. And then first I saw it in the big screen and like with audience. It was cute, and with other, it was in the trans category, so
Yeah.
like trans screening. So it was cute. There was lots of trans people. And
Oh, that's so great. I feel like that's like the
oh.
heartwarming stuff about porn, when you see all these baby trans girls be like, oh my God, I'm seeing representation. And I'm like, oh my God, I used to be that.
Same. I used to be that too. And yeah, that's how it felt this year also. Yeah, other screening. There was another screening in a small room where it was full of trans girls. I don't know, maybe 4, 5 trans girls in a small room. And they were all like, oh my God, how did you get into that? Like, what is that? Which is pretty cool. Yeah.
That's going to be the next generation of performers.
Yes.
That's how it happens. So
yes.
obviously we met, I think we met like the first or second year I was in Berlin. So like probably 5, 6 years ago now. So how did you get to Berlin? How did you kind of get into porn? You're Swiss, correct?
Yes. Yes. And I've been living in France for like almost 15 years in the south of France. And then I moved to Brussels. I was living in the countryside, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was.
What were you
like,
doing there? Were you doing porn in some capacity, or?
Not at all. I was fixing cars.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was fixing cars and cutting trees and shit like that. It was pre-transitioning.
Okay.
Yeah. And
so the most masculine things possible, chopping down trees and cars.
Well, still in a skirt.
Oh, okay. I can really appreciate that. That's the other side of gay, you know. It gets so, yeah, little butch.
But yeah, then I moved. I wanted to move to a city, and I wanted to change things, and I came to Brussels first. I was studying classical theater, like physical theater, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and yeah, I was 2, 3 years there, and then I moved to Berlin. Yeah, because things were not really working out for me. I was missing some stuff, and I remembered I had a friend who talked about Berlin, and I was like, okay, let's try that. Let's go and see. And I loved it, like many trans people do. I was like, wow, is that possible? Okay, let's stay a bit. And I'm still here.
Did you move to Berlin for porn, or did you just kind of discover porn in Berlin?
I think there is a mixture of both, because I was not aware. Like, I shot my very first porn in Brussels with a lover of mine. That was 2012, I think. And we never released the movie because she is not a performer. She doesn't want to have like her image on screen, which is first lessons, of course. But I already knew that was the direction I wanted to take, but I had no idea. I didn't know the queer scene. I didn't know like very few queer people. Like, I had these 2 gay men which I was living with, and like there was this lesbian couple over there, but no trans people, and no really like queerness like I know it now. Like, I was really a baby queer. And yeah, we did this film. It was really fun. It was really nice. And then when I moved to Berlin, I met all this scene. It went pretty quick. At the time, it felt very slow, but if I look back, it was very quick. And then I met people who gave me porn, who showed me porn. And then I went to the festival and I was like, okay, that's the shit I want to do. Yeah.
That's so
I remember
cool.
I saw viewer films first. I think that those were the first
Which
ones.
one?
I think Fucking Mystic.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah, that's my
yeah,
baby. Like, that's the
yeah.
first. That's honestly like, I think we started shooting it like 2 weeks after I moved here to
Okay.
California. So I was like so fresh off the just everything. Everything was just so big. I was like, wow, okay, let's make a movie. Sure, I want a gangbang in it. And yeah.
You got quite a big gangbang.
Yeah, that was I actually talked about it in the last podcast where it's just like at first, like the first 5 minutes, you're like, okay, this is very intense. And then you're like, oh,
Mm,
it's fine. It's just a
mm,
regular sex scene. But
nice.
yeah, I did not have a passport, honestly, until I think like 2016, 2017. So I missed out on so many festivals and stuff, which my films were there. And I think Courtney might have been there. I'm not positive.
It's possible. I don't know. I
Yeah.
think I didn't know much that time. I think that was my first festival. I think it was either 15 or 16. I can't remember now.
I think it was
Um,
probably 15 because it came out in 2014, I
okay,
think.
then probably, yeah.
Yeah, probably something like that. So you've been around for a while in porn, like in some capacity.
Yeah, slowly, slowly. No, I go slow. It's like I have other ways to find money, so it's not like my main focus. But yeah, I've been doing this like physical theater thing. Then I was like a lot into somatics and like performances here in
Hmm.
Berlin, body work and shit. And all the time when I did stuff that was like stage related or like performance related,
Hmm.
it always had something to do with sexuality, with sex, and even the most vanilla things I did were like, yeah, let's all perform naked. Like I don't know. I did this. I had this. I was in this production like performance like in Hamburg near to Berlin,
Hmm.
and it was a piece about like bodies and like everyone was naked, but they were all like no one was sex worker, and it was like official thing. There was nothing to do with porn, but still like we were all naked. Like
It's so
it
close to
always ends.
porn. Yeah.
Yeah, there is
Like it's
a
not.
that's yeah, yes and no, because there is still a I could feel the difference. No, I was the only sex worker in the whole crew, and that makes a
Mm,
big difference still. But yeah, okay,
yeah.
you like for me it's fine, I can be fucking naked on stage. For me, it's like what the fuck? I'm just worried if my pussy will get dry or like if there is too much like dust or shit like that. But like about how people see me, I'm like, like I'm used to that. For me, it was not a big challenge. It's more like I'm super comfortable naked now. So yeah.
Yeah,
That's
porn does that where it's just like after a while, it's not a big deal. You're just
Yeah,
like, oh, this is just how it
it's even
is.
more like more comfortable. Sometimes I feel like more tied up when I'm in spaces where it's not okay to talk too much, like explicitly or like to, yeah, I don't know. And then I'm like, oh, I don't feel home here. That's weird. Can we
Are
get
you
naked?
like, yeah, like do you just like hang around your house naked or are you not one of those people? I'm always cold, so I always wear clothes. Like I don't understand nudists to be honest, just because I'm freezing all the time.
I'm cold, but I have good heating system.
Oh, okay.
I enjoy being naked, but also I have this hard limit on cold. Like I really hate being cold. So I will wear cozy stuff if I'm cold. But if I can, I will definitely be naked. Yeah. When I
Nice.
go in the countryside in France in the summer and it's warm, I'm so happy I'm able to be naked outside. I'm like, best things ever.
I feel like I just always end up in places where it's cold. Like my part of California is so freezing all the time. It's like 50 degrees. Well, wait, that means nothing to you. Celsius and Fahrenheit. Totally different. Never mind.
50 degrees sounds really hot to me.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, see, I lived close enough to Canada growing up that I'm like, I vaguely know Celsius, but I also cannot just like pull a conversion out of my head.
I see.
Yeah. So what stuff kind of influenced you to get into porn? Because obviously going to Berlin, you saw a lot of porn. Was it just basically immediately seeing these festivals and being like, okay, I need to get involved?
Yeah, I think it was even before. I remember the very first week when I started this physical theater school, um, in which I was already a weirdo because I was the only trans person and I was the only one like, no, that's not true. But most of the people were like 20 years old and their parents would pay for the school.
Oh, one
I
of those
was
situations.
already, yeah, I was already like 30 something and like in a completely different situation. And we had this very first week where, you know, like there is like this awkwardness, no one knows each other, and slowly. And also, I was the only person not from Belgium, which is like boring because basically it's the same where I come from. Like it's very similar.
Yeah, I
But
feel like it's not that big of a jump. I mean, half of a
That's no
French
jump
speaking
at to
country.
me. To me, it doesn't feel like a jump at all, but to some people
Yeah.
it can. Um, but yeah, we had this like you.
Okay, we're back. We are doing this from across the world from each other, so I guess there is some expectation for some things to go wrong, but hopefully that's the last connection issue.
I'm sure it's gonna work well.
Yeah, so last you were saying you were kind of like bouncing around French speaking Europe, like you went from
Yeah, I was.
Switzerland to the south of France to Belgium.
Yeah, I was explaining. I was in the theater school, and in the first week, like all the students were like telling each other, like, you know, I want to do cinema, I want to do classical theater, I want to do like musicals, I want to do this and that and that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, in my head, I was like, I want to fucking shoot porn. To me, like I never asked myself this before, you know, but at the point when we were like talking with each other and I had to like say something in this round, like the only thing I had in mind was like, I want to do porn. And I obviously I didn't say anything. I was like shaming myself like shit that
Yeah.
time. But yeah, that's what it turns out to be. So it's funny for me to remember. Like I always tell the story because yeah, it's like, yeah, that was my impulse and that's how it went, which is awesome. I mean, I'm super happy I could do what I've done so far, and I'm super happy to do more in the future. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool. When you moved to Berlin, was it still kind of in like the early stages of the scene becoming what it is now? Like, was there already a bunch of companies set up there? Was there already a bunch of performers always coming in, or was it
Yes. But what do you mean companies? Like what companies do you think of?
like were you having like were there studios trying to shoot with performers there and like paid studio gigs happening really, or not so much? Was it still pretty DIY and just performers performing with other
It's
people?
very DIY and it's still very DIY, I believe, here. Like it's not like we're not like set up like in the States. Like there are some
Oh,
studios, but
definitely.
not there's not so many, and it's still very DIY.
Yeah, I feel like I've heard a lot from people in Berlin. There's kind of a gentrification of the porn scene going on there, where larger
Mm-hmm.
studios are coming in and then kind of taking a lot of the talent and just giving them paid gigs and having that kind of result rather than kind of more porn for art specific reasons.
Yes, I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
I'm not going to name any companies, but we both know the companies.
Yes. I think my concerns is like, do we want to talk about concerns? Like for me, it's like
Yeah,
also on the
if you would like
trends
to.
on the trends topic. I think like we're also way behind here in Europe.
Yeah.
Um, like way behind. We're still struggling with like some pretty toughy shit. Um, yeah, that's how it is. But it's changing. It's really changing. I can see that. Um, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I
To
feel
make
like
it very.
I think porn in Europe is way forward in a lot of ways, but I think just the trans inclusion thing, there's just not that many trans women that are highlighted that much in European
But
porn.
how forward is it from your point of view? That's interesting to me.
Well, so when I first came to Berlin, I was so burnt out on American porn because everyone was screaming at me I was radical and I'm gonna destroy porn and shit. And then I came to Berlin and I saw stuff like fuck the fascism, which they're like going to fascist graves and like pissing on them and like defacing graves and like fucking on statues and all this like really truly like wild stuff that I was like, this is amazing. And like porn for reasons just outside of making money. So for me, it blew my mind of like, oh my God, you don't just have to make porn that's for someone to buy, that you can do porn for artistic reasons. So for me, that was huge because I was so burnt out. I was like kind of considering leaving porn at the time just because I'm like, this is boring. I'm just getting yelled at by like straight men who are trying to fetishize trans women in the United States. I fucking hate this. And they're trying to call me slurs and freaking out because I'm like, can you not call me a she-male, you know? So I think for me, it was just such a breath of fresh air, the reasons for doing it. But at the same time, there's just not that many trans women in high profile positions there.
I think it's really interesting what you say, because that's exactly where starts, you know, this like line, where is the edge between this like artistic porn and like this what you just described, which is DIY punk. I don't know really how to call it, but then it can quickly slips into this gentrified, or like, you know, like who will be always a whore and who will be an artist.
Yep.
Who deserves what term and why and how and all these things. And I think that's interesting, because there is still something interesting in this artistic porn, or in this out of the business porn, which is also how I entered the industry, no? And at the same time, there is this like backlash where it can quickly slips into something that just you want to puke.
Yeah.
I mean, I personally never discovered my puking fetish so far, but maybe it's coming. Nothing with.
Oh, it's a fun one. It's a fun one. I have no gag reflex. I have like the worst gag reflex. So that was very early in porn where I'm like, I'm gonna vomit in some scenes and it's okay.
Okay. I remember when we shoot together for the first time. I was like, "Do you want some tea?" And you were like, "Nope."
Yeah, I'm like, I can't do that.
Before shooting, I was like, "Oh wow, okay, that's really extreme."
Yeah, definitely. The issue was I did a scene. It was like a BDSM scene, and before scenes, I was trying to be hydrated, and at the time, I was like, okay, so I drank this bright green Gatorade, and then I ended up like throwing up in the scene. And the entire crew freaked out because it was bright green and they thought I was dying or something. And I'm like, no, it's fine. It's fine. I just had a Gatorade. So after that, I'm like, okay, only clear liquids, no eating on set days, and just being, yeah, that's what works for me at least.
Learning by doing.
Yeah, I feel like that's a lot of porn stuff. But yeah, so I just feel like now in the United States, porn, like even AVN, it gave its largest award this year, the Grand Reel, which is like the best film of the festival, to a trans film this year. And there wasn't really much of a backlash, which I feel like there's just not that visibility maybe in European porn for trans women yet. Where I feel like
name some.
I don't know if there's any. Like, there's not that many trans women in European porn I can name, like at these festivals. Like, I know you.
There is always a few, but it's
Yeah,
very few.
not very many.
Few. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, it's off the top of my head, I feel like you're the only other trans woman I run into at those festivals for the most part. Like, there's not.
I feel like there is like sisters who are more like hustling on OnlyFans and many vids, like,
yeah,
but won't attend the festival because it's just not like, yeah, because they're busy basically doing money, and in the festivals you don't make money.
Yeah.
But at the festivals, not so many. There is always couples, but it's very, yeah. But it's also like this. I mean, now in Europe, we are kind of having an explosion. Like in France, we have like self-help groups for trans women that are getting so big. Like when I started transitioning, I didn't know any. I was in some cities, in some small cities. I didn't know any, like,
Same.
and
Yeah.
now it's like a lot. And in Berlin also, we have groups now, like it's a lot, like outside of porn scene. I'm just talking like in the city, in the
Yeah.
queer scene. It's like, and that's awesome. That's really great. And like, I feel like people feel more and more comfortable to come out, which is like really good. So it's changing slowly, definitely.
Yeah, I feel like there's quite a lot of queer people in Berlin. Like it's one of those cities to me that there's just so many gay and queer people everywhere. I feel the same way about Amsterdam. I feel the same way about San Francisco. I feel the same way about New York. There's just so many gay and trans people kind of everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's just such a great city. I really don't know where my career would have been without going to Berlin. Like, I feel like it's that city that really, for a lot of artists who are really burnt out, it can give you a lot of new perspective on stuff. I feel like just the creativity there is just so interesting, and that there's always people creating stuff and kind of have for the last 100 years. I think it's just
Yeah,
really
I'm
special.
looking for, I'm looking forward to go to the States. Like I would really love to
Uh,
go to the States
like,
and see
don't.
the scene how it is there, Like maybe we can also switch perspectives. No, I completely
Yeah.
understand what you mean. But for me, who is here all the time, I'm like, okay, I want to see something else.
Oh, come to AVN sometime with us. Come to a major porn convention.
Oh, that would be awesome.
It's mind blowing, just like how large the industry is. Also, just like literally every year I go to AVN, I just learned that there's so much about porn I don't know. That there's like these whole subsections of genres that totally exist, and some girl's been working her entire life for to get to this point of getting nominated for one AVN. It's just like there's so many stories, and just like kind of like Berlin, you really feel like everyone in the world involving porn is basically there. Yeah, I feel like that's the other end of the spectrum of maybe like hyper capitalist porn.
Okay, I have to come there.
Yeah, sometime definitely. We would love to share a hotel room with you there. Basically, everyone just
Ah,
shoots all week at AVN. Well, hopefully it happens this year. It's been off for 2 years now because of the pandemic, but yeah, it just takes over the whole city of Vegas essentially. And every cab has like AVN stuff on it, like promotional stuff. All like the giant like TVs have like porn stars on it. It's just so crazy.
cool. Yeah, sounds cool.
Yeah. So, was there like a moment or a scene that you did that made you really realize that this was going to be something more for you than just doing a scene here or there?
Hmm. No, I think I cannot like pick one scene who would like be which would be like in front of others, but there are some shoots where like, oh, that was like hard work and I'm not so happy about the
Yeah.
results. And there are some shoots where you're like, oh my fucking God, that was so amazing. I can't wait to see the edit of that. Um, and of course, like I don't know, I'm very sensitive. So like when I have a bad one, it hurts kind of.
Yeah, for
Then
real.
and then I have to find like one have to find the way how to keep going and to see what ones need to change. And when there is a great one, it's like, yes, that's what I want to do. That's how I want to work. And how do I get to have more opportunities like that? Like, okay, that's the direction I want to take, but like that's also probably a niche, or like how do I get more of that? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like a good porn scene can really keep you going in this industry where you're just like, this is what it's about. This is the whole point of all of this. Like, that's just such a rewarding thing. Has COVID really stopped your shooting, or are you kind of back to a regular amount of shooting, or is it?
I'm shooting very small right now, but I'm not sure if that's about COVID or because I'm also busy with other stuff and maybe a bit burnt out. Like at the beginning of COVID, I was like, you know what? I need to shoot a lot. Like at the beginning, I was like, I'm not gonna survive this. I need to shoot.
Oh,
just you.
so you internalize it. You're like, there's a pandemic. I'm gonna die. I need to get all the porn in I can.
Not maybe not that way, but it was like almost unconscious, you know, like okay, I need to feel like I'm okay, so I need to
Yeah.
shoot. But of course, like not like still with like precautions and like
Yeah,
and like
protocols and all that.
whatever. But yeah, I feel like at the beginning I've still been shooting quite an acceptable amount, and now it's getting slow. So maybe there is also like a kind of burnout on the sense of like, okay, I have to do a lot now just to feel like I'm all alive. And now I'm like, nah, okay, give me a break. And
Yeah.
I also want to do stuff like that really talks to me, you know, where I can really see myself, like this feeling of like, yeah, that's what I want to do. Like with the years, this gets more sharp
Mm-hmm.
and I get much more picky. And that's also why maybe I shoot less, because I'm like, this man, I already done that. I'm not like, I want to do something new, or like, oh, I need a bit more of this so I can feel comfortable. So no, yeah. But I'm still working with Insatiable Pictures,
Oh,
um,
yeah.
which we
That's your
launched.
studio, right?
That's a Tori studio. We launched it kind of together. Um, Yeah, I'm about to launch Praline Studio, but
Oh,
slowly,
wow.
slowly. It's
Congrats.
on Pink. Yeah, thank you. It's on Pink Label already. But like anyway, I work with Tori a lot. She's also trans, by the way. So
Oh, cool.
it's like it's like a trans woman studio in Berlin in Europe, which is
That's so
cool.
cool.
We don't talk about it much
I
because I don't
mean,
know.
yeah, I feel like it's weird to say, but like, I feel like at some point you just almost forget about being trans in your daily life. Like, other than work, I feel like for me, it rarely comes up until it's like a
Okay.
work thing. And I'm like, oh, yeah.
Okay. Good for you. For me, it's still I don't forget. It still takes some space. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's I guess where I'm at right now, where I'm just like, oh yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm. That's good. Yeah, that's good. Makes a break.
I think
Yeah.
it's a mix, honestly. Like, I think some ways it's almost feeling hyper invisible at times, and just trying to kind of figure out that balance when you do have passing privilege and shit. Like, I think it's kind of both sides of the coin. Like, obviously, there's physical safety and all that, but also I feel like you can feel very invisible and be like, am I being stealth right now, even though I'm not explicitly trying to do that? And that sort of thing.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Way heavier conversation than porn related. Yeah. So you're kind of being more selective with your scenes now. Is there like anything you really have planned for your studio that you're hoping to accomplish in the next year or two? Like, do you have any big projects that you want to do with your studio?
I would like to do features, but I'm not pressuring on it. Like I keep having like ideas and visions, but I'm not really ready at the moment to go for it. And I know this takes time, and I'm taking it slow and fine with it. But yeah, definitely I would like to. Yeah, I really like, like I have this whole like physical theater and performance background, and I would really like to be able to invest more in like preparation and how you write a script, or like how you prepare something and how you develop a concept. Um, yeah, and I'm still not sure. And I think this is maybe a fantasy like most of us have. Like I don't think I'm the only one. Like we all want to do more and be able like to have better like conditions and more capacity
Yeah.
and more like time to work on stuff, and like being more precise and like perfectionists about what we do. Um, yeah, so let's see how this goes. But yeah, I would really like to be able to develop things, like to see how from scene to scene something can evolve, or like developing characters, or
yeah. I think that's
and
a really
also
cool idea.
more songs, more songs. I really like the one-on-one. I really like the one-on-two. But can we have more songs?
Yeah, group sexes. I love shooting group sex scenes so much. It's just so much fun. And like everyone's so stoked afterwards and in such a good mood. I feel like group sex is always such a fun
Yeah.
experience. That's honestly my
Yeah.
favorite part about doing porn, I think, is doing these
Oh.
things where it's like 4 people or 5 people and you can really just do so much crazy stuff. And that's what I honestly love.
Yeah, that's also a COVID fucked up, obviously, that we are
Yeah.
not able to do it anymore so much. But
Is
yeah,
stuff kind of returning to normal porn wise in Berlin now? Like, does it seem like there's a lot of shooting going on and is it kind of back to normal life or is it still kind of
well,
restricted?
it's still very different. Like clubs opened again not so long ago. Now we can like we are super privileged here in Berlin. I feel like we can get tested for free whenever we want.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's super easy. There was like test stations everywhere, which makes it really easier. But still, the numbers are going super high again, and it's like it's definitely not over. Like I feel like in my last month, like everything's still getting canceled all the time. But like even like the dinner I had planned with a friend is getting canceled. Like this like a lot, or like okay, so you have to shift to next week. Like it's just so exhausting on planning, you
Yeah.
know, for like nothing. It's like, oh, it's really, yeah. Yeah. So no, it's not back to normal, not at all. But it's obviously way much better than it has been a year ago. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's just honestly everywhere is going through a different phase of it at all times. And it's just so hard to, I think, kind of just judge where the world is with it because there's some places that are going full back into lockdowns. I interviewed a performer from Melbourne, Australia, and they're like, oh, yeah, we're on
Mm-hmm.
lockdown like 6 months in a row or something. I'm just like, what?
Fuck.
Yeah, they have the most restrictive lockdowns in the world. It's just like, you never know what other cities are going through. And then I went to Vegas, I think it was 3 weeks ago, and people act like there's no pandemic at all there. So it's just like so different from city to city. Then
Yeah.
everyone in California is wearing 2 masks or something.
Yeah,
So
I feel the same shit. Yeah, we have the
yeah,
same. Like, you know, it's even like from one place to the other, it's like next door, but like, yeah,
yeah.
same.
Yeah, I think getting back to shooting and porn being kind of normal is just so hard. And I think there's so many risks right now where if you're actively shooting the way before and trying to make a porn career happen right now, especially early in your career, I feel like you're just probably going to get it. And that's kind of what I got from, I reviewed a few people during AVN week and I think 4 people were nominated for AVNs who I had on and 3 of them had COVID. So it's just kind of, I think, part of it right now and just trying to find a way to be safe around that, which is just so hard because I feel like porn really hasn't had any sort of issues like this before.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I think it's interesting and hopefully the world just starts returning more to normal and people can shoot group sex scenes and gangbangs and all that fun stuff again.
Yes. Yes.
So you've kind of been based in Berlin, but it sounds like you've also shot porn elsewhere. Do you have a favorite city or place to shoot? Is Berlin your favorite, or is there any other place that you really enjoyed working?
I don't care so much actually.
Really?
I think it's more about the concept and the other performers. Like, it's more about the scene itself than the city. And wait, I am thinking now, did I shoot that much out of Berlin? Not so much actually. Yeah, I think I can't really answer this question because I didn't shoot so much out of Berlin. And when I think it's more, for me, it's more, yeah, it's more of the scene and the people and how it goes, like the process, than and also, you know, like what it is for me, like some things I've done years ago, a couple of years ago, where that time it was for me like super exciting and like awesome, might sound super boring for me now.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just feel like the energy, especially during like the Berlin Porn Film Festival week, shooting that week is one of my favorite times, just because there's so much energy in the air and like you're running into people and they're all shooting, or at least that's how it used to be. And it was just like, it really felt like.
Oh, I had one shoot this year. One. I was like, what? Okay.
Yeah, I'm not at fully back either. I think I've been on 4 sets since the pandemic. So definitely cut back. Yeah. So yeah, I took over a year off. Yeah, everything went to lockdown here in March of 2020. Then I think my first scene back was August of 2021. So it was a big break. Yeah. I also was like shooting remote stuff because I'm like, I have to find a way to be a slut on camera somehow. I don't know how. If it's doing a Zoom orgy, that's fine. I don't care. That was really my mindset. But yeah, I just feel like the energy in Berlin that week where everyone is seeing each other's movies and then everyone's making porn that's going to be in the festival probably next year. I just feel like it's such a cool full circle experience that it just like produces itself. Oh, is it good?
Yeah, it's really cool. It's good now. It got frozen very shortly, but now you're back.
Hopefully it stays. Okay, well, I have a few more questions for you. I'm so excited I got to talk to you just because, yeah, it's been so long and I don't even know if we ever had a chance to like sit down and actually talk. And that's kind of what the whole point of this
It was always
is.
so busy. I remember
I know.
when we meet, you come to Berlin, there is like 3 shoots a day or like being sick. I remember you was sick last time. And it's
yeah,
like
I was sick
at
your apartment before.
So many things to do. Yeah, I remember.
Yep, I was very sick at your apartment. I'm like, do you have like, what's the German version of Gatorade and like crackers? I remember, I can't remember if it was you or Dante was like, oh, here you go. I'm like, thank you. It's very appreciated. Yeah, the jet lag was kicking my ass so hardcore that time. But so you've obviously been in this industry for a while. Like you started in like 2013, you said, like at least shooting porn on your own.
Yeah, that was my first shoot, and then it took a while. I think then until 2016, I think.
Yeah, so you're a veteran of this industry now because
I feel like I'm still a baby, to be honest. But
they say porn careers only last 2 years, so that's like 3 times that. So yeah, a veteran of the industry. But so you've obviously done a lot. Is there anything that you still really want to accomplish that you haven't so far in your career?
Yes, but there is some stuff that I don't want to mention because it is going to happen and I don't want to mention it before.
Oh my God, that's amazing. So one of the things you want to do.
More songs and more BDSM, and also I've been no, that's not true, but I feel like I've been talking a lot, but maybe it's also in my like work and private life, like work off camera and private life, that I feel like I've been very dominant. And I'm like, I want to go back to bottoming. I want to go back to be a good girl. I want to find my mommy again. I lost my mommy. Where's my mommy? You know, Berlin is very masked. Like Germany is very masked. There is, so like there is a lack of feminist, and there is definitely a lack of mommies. Like everyone wants to be a daddy here. Where are all the mommies? So I'm like, either I'm gonna be that mommy, that my own mommy, or like, I don't know yet. Yeah, I have lots of mommy fantasies at the moment. Yeah.
That's a very good answer. That's very direct. Most people are like, oh, I eventually want to do this or that. And you're like, more mommies, 100%. I feel like Berlin is a very, masculine town. It feels like, I don't know if it's the weather. I don't know if it's just kind of the environment around it. It feels like a very like, it honestly reminds me a little bit of the Midwest where I grew up. It's like very kind of industrial feeling a little bit. There's like some abandoned buildings, which I grew up around a lot of those. So I feel like it feels very familiar and just like, yeah, I think kind of reflects that little more masculine vibe.
Yeah, there's this like, we say like, French people, we say like, you know, when you go to Berlin, your gaydar is broken. Like, you don't know, like, you know, even straight girls, they are like so masked. Like,
It's so
it doesn't
true.
work anymore. It's like, what the fuck? And like, it's really easy to be high femme here. Just lipstick, and you are like, everybody will be like, oh my gosh.
It's 100% so true. I feel like it's just so different than, yeah, like I feel like France, even the Netherlands, is just so different. Like you don't have that like aggressive mask vibe. And I feel like that's just like a thing in Berlin.
Well, I think the aggressive and the mask is two different things. Like I don't like they can work well together, but they don't have to. Um, and I think Germany, like Berlin, Germany has this very hush thing, this very cold, this very distant, you know, and like you be very direct, and but you don't really engage, and you be like, ah, don't do that, or like, ah, I shouldn't be here. That's very German, but that's not like the mask thing. I think it's different. Yeah.
Yeah, I just find it's just so interesting in Europe because you can fly 30 minutes in a plane and be in a totally different culture and language and everything. And I think that's like the thing I honestly miss the most about traveling is I've been on the West Coast here for now like 4 years. Wait, how long has this pandemic been going on? Like 3 years? Something like that. And it's just like that's what I miss the most. There's just so much, I think, just differences from place to place. And here you can go on a car for 12 hours and it's exactly the same. It's just LA and it's just like vaguely, barely different. So,
no, 12 hours in the car, I would be in Marseille.
Yeah, I'm like, you could travel halfway across Europe, I feel like, with 12 hours in a car.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so I have one final question for you. This is the only kind of out there hypothetical question I ask. I try to keep everything else in reality, but this is the one. So let's say you wake up tomorrow and you can magically change one thing in the porn industry. Could be anything. What would it be?
So I'm not gonna say the size of my boobs. Because that would be too easy as an answer.
I'm like, we can get that to happen. Like that doesn't have to be magic. we can help you with that. The world can help you collectively.
It takes a little bit of work though.
Girl, just start eating more. Just like gain like 15 pounds and it's gonna mostly go to your boobs. That's what happened to me during the pandemic. I started with an A cup
really?
in the beginning of the pandemic. Now I have a C cup. It's really going good.
Oh, really? Well, now I want to see it. No, I'm joking.
I'm like, I'm like, I'm sure I have photos on my Twitter. I'm like, I feel like I post my boobs often. So
yeah, it's true. I haven't checked. Like, I see your post, but I didn't pay attention. Oh, where are those boobs? Those boobs, like, how are those boobs doing? Like, oh, you're having a great pandemic time.
Yeah, my partner is very happy. I moved in with her 2 months before the pandemic, and my boobs were fairly small. And then I think during the first year of the pandemic, I gained like 15 pounds, and then I ended up like working out a bunch and losing it, but I kept all the boob fat, so it's going great.
Great, that's cool.
Truly,
like
truly a miracle.
Right before pandemic, it works good.
Yeah, just eat more. Just like.
Yeah, what I would like to change, about the industry, I'm thinking now, is can we be treated as any other fucking industry? Like in terms of, like if we're talking about artistic stuff like we talked about before, like if it's related to Berlin, can we be treated like artistic stuff like it is in Berlin? I mean, like getting grants.
Yeah.
Or like, like just having this like, maybe it sounds a bit boring. No, it's just like inclusion. It's just basic rights. But like, can we have like the same opportunities, like, and I mean also within the industry, like how can it opens to, like, you know, bodies, like bigger bodies, trans bodies, bodies of
Yeah.
color, black bodies, that like, because it's still as it is now. So yeah, more opening the industry within the world, within capitalism, and also the industry within itself. Like, that would be my wish, I think.
Yeah,
That would
so
be,
more inclusion in and outside of the industry.
yeah,
It's a really
yeah.
good answer. Yeah, I really hope it becomes like, honestly, going to Berlin gives me so much hope about the future, honestly, because I'm just like, there's not very many places. Well, I guess now there are a lot of places in the world that have these festivals that, they can fill a theater with because of Berlin. Like, I feel like the last few years, it feels like every city in Europe basically has their own porn film festival
There is
now.
so many porn film festival here. Like, I think it's the end of April. There is one in the same weekend. There is one in Vienna, one in Brussels, which is the first one, and one
Yeah.
in Antwerp. I don't know the of English. It's also in Belgium. It's a small
Yeah.
city.
Yeah.
So there is 3 festivals in I don't know. It's really the same area. It's a 1.5 hour flight. Um, yeah, the same weekend. It's just like, okay, like, where's that going? Like, okay, so this is okay. This is happening, but still, like, shooting conditions, it's still the same.
Yeah.
Like there is nothing to back us up. Like, we have to hustle, and like when we screen a movie at a festival, we barely paid for it.
Yeah. You
So,
barely get
or like,
paid if you do get paid. Like,
yeah, or like sometimes you have to pay to apply and you don't get it, or like you get in, you don't get paid. Sometimes you get paid, which is awesome when it happens. But so, like, there is an unbalanced thing. Now it's getting very fancy on one side, and it's still like super precarious. And like, okay,
yeah.
but if we want to make it really fancy, like, we could, like, give us more opportunities, like give us more, like give us more time, give us more, like, everything we need to, and we will get there also, like, or like not get there, we're already there, but like we can improve. That's what I wish.
Yeah, I feel like it's such a weird thing because you can be screening in multiple countries around the world and then get, 10 euros for it, which is such a
Yeah.
bizarre thing because as an artist, when you're younger and you're like, oh, wow, if I'm an international artist, that means I'm going to be making all this money. It's all going to be this huge thing. And it's just
Yeah.
really not. And I think particularly these festivals that are wanting fees to apply during a pandemic from people who are mostly sex workers, it just feels like such a not a good thing to me. Like, I'm not applying to any of those festivals because I'm like, why should I pay you 5 euros for you to watch my movie, for you to then accept it into your festival and then not pay me for it?
I haven't said anything.
I'm saying that part. If people are coming
But
for that comment, they can come at me. Also, just give me a waiver to submit to your festival for free because I've
yeah,
as many
it's the way
festivals
it
I
goes.
can be in, I'm stoked about, but at the same time, I'm not sending you money to watch my porn. Like, that feels so backwards to me.
Yeah, yeah. But that's also this, yeah, again, this, like, artist versus whore thing. And I really like when it can be both. I really like when it can be both. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's really important, actually.
Yeah, I think these festivals are just going to keep spreading. I mean, even this year, like, there's one in Istanbul, which is the first. There's more and
Huh.
more happening in South America, which I think is going to start to become the future of the industry because we're seeing more and more performers who are either born in South America or who are currently making stuff in South America. It just really gives me hope for kind of the future of the industry and like
Hmm.
how it's going to grow. I really am assuming there's probably going to be festivals starting to happen in Asia in the next probably few years because it just seems like this whole porn film festival thing is just growing more and more and more. Where it feels like every country in Europe essentially has it now, at least Western Europe. And then South America is getting screenings. There's more screenings happening in the United States. There's finally a porn festival 2 hours from my hometown, which I never thought I would say before. So I feel like it's just really starting to grow, and hopefully it continues showing inclusive and progressive porn, and hopefully we eventually get paid real money for it.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah. There is also all these like online platforms, no, that growing a lot. Like and there is there I'm questioning a lot. Like, I'm so thankful for Pink Label and all the work they do, which is really amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, I see other things like that grow up from people who has nothing to do with sex work. It's just startups and like business people who are like, oh, we're gonna put a foot into porn. There is like not into porn, into feminist or alternative or however, like
erotica or whatever. Yeah.
What's the name for this?
Like fair trade.
Porn?
Yeah.
Fair trade porn. Thank you. That thing.
Yeah.
Ethical, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. So there is all these things, and yeah, that it almost feels like appropriation. Like
completely. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's really spreading, and it's really growing, and it's really there is a lot of more. And in Berlin here, there are like a couple of good examples. Where I'm like, okay. However, still doing my stuff.
Yeah. Well, I'm so excited you have a studio, and I can't wait to see what you have coming in the future. Do you want to tell everyone where they can find you on social media and
Twitter
websites?
Is Praline Manon. I don't have a website. Twitter, I got too much, like I gave up with Instagram because I'm such a brat and I'm really not able to respect all these rules that it's changing all the time. So Twitter, praline.manon, Praline. I don't know, sorry, my English is so bad. Praline, like the chocolate. Manon, like my name. And what was the question again? And Pink Label, like, okay, there is a link thing,
go to Pink Label.
Pink Label is where you can find most of my works, I guess.
Yes. Do you have any screenings coming up or anything to promote like that? Or
there is lots of so Vienna, they screen a lot of stuff. There is this scene I did for Aorta Films with Jamal Phoenix.
Nice.
They will be screening in Vienna, and that's a nice
shout out Vienna.
It's breastplay. I really love breastplay, and I really love when we can get very nerdy and particular into like one BDSM practice. Like I'm really into BDSM also in my private life, and I really like when there's this like, okay, let's focus on that practice and we can develop into it. So that's a scene I'm really happy about. But there is also other ones that I don't remember now. There is My Garage, My Rules. This was the first film I've directed, which will be screened in Brussels. First edition of Brussels Festival. I'm still...
It's so exciting.
Hesitating if I will go or not. I have to see if I have the energy for it. I've got a bunch of emails. Oh, there is this thing in France, in Grenoble, which is a small city.
I have a screening there too. We're both in the same thing.
That's the thing. I got I've seen the program today. I think they screen like 6 of my films.
Oh, wow.
And they have also 2 or 3 of yours, which I'm happy about.
Yeah, I'm really stoked. I haven't screened in France, and I think it's been like since 2018. So very excited to have another screening.
But there. You match because you have this, like what you mentioned at the beginning, this the way you behave in the industry is really matched for the French taste. I think there is something that really works. Oh, is that a cat? Oh yes. What's their name?
This is my cat, Lily May.
Oh, Lily. Hi, Lily.
I had her since I was like 15. So she's an old cat, but I'm glad she's getting involved in this. But
I'm glad I get to meet her.
Hopefully someday in person. If you're ever in the States, more than welcome. I think you would love the whole SF porn vibe. We have a dungeon here that we rent for BDSM shoots. So if you ever want to get into some BDSM, we got you.
Definitely.
Well, thank you.
I'm coming.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I hope you get to come to the States. Also, I totally understand if you don't want to come to the States. It's a little crazy here. Like, I'm trying to get out as, yeah. So,
You're so
yeah.
welcome. You're so welcome.
Well, bye, everyone.
Such a pleasure.
Bye.
Yeah. Thank you. Ciao.